I mean, this probably lands us nicely on this last topic about the contract concerns, because as you said, people have gone through it, of the rationalisation of, no, 5 years, not 5 months, and we've done the bulk of the business. This sets us up. If you look at Liverpool's contract situation across the board and who's running down, who's entering those last 2 years, who might be leaving, because everyone's just kind of, we've done the churn, this was the big summer. Maybe in terms of the spend, but there's some real questions to ask over certain players. And to be honest, Trev, you mentioned the GOAT there. It probably starts with him, Indy Callier, and he was tweeting literally earlier about this, that Liverpool have made their final offer to Ibu. The offer would make him one of the highest earners at the club. And interestingly, I actually did an article earlier saying that if he doesn't, they're saying like take it or leave it now with Konate, that they will possibly move for Gay in January as well. So that's come into the mix, despite that being dismissed by others. And we've heard there's this weird kind of triangle going on, isn't there, with Ibu, Upamecano, Schlotterbeck, Real, Bayern, all the links that go round. But in terms of the contract concerns, everyone wants to tell you, and I do shows with Patch Journos, who, to be fair to them, will say, well, there's nothing confirmed either way. And I'm not denying that. There's nothing confirmed either way. But that ain't going to keep you warm at night when you need people to stay and commit, is it really, like Ibu?
Yeah, and Konate is really the one, isn't he, that's driving so much conversation. And the sad reason that he's driving the conversation is the exact opposite of why Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk were driving conversation, as we were talking about them and their contracts for an interminable amount of time. It felt so stressful and frustrating all the way through the last campaign. But we reached the right conclusion, and we got there on the back of them having played out of their skins to earn those contracts, those two lads in particular. And obviously we had the Trent nonsense going on. But similar to the Trent nonsense, it's always felt to me like Ibu's on his way out, or that he's going to want to try something different, and that the lure of PSG or Real would be too much for him, and that it's likely to be the case. And when you and I did the story during the summer, it was about, well, now he's on 80 and he wants 200 plus, and the club aren't happy at that number, and he wants to feel respected. So if there's anything to the rumors there that are going around from Indy and the boys, that they've made a really decent offer to him now, and it's up to him to accept it or not. Yeah. Well, at least we've reached this stage, if you'll pardon my French, of shit or get off the pot, because it's getting frustrating, the whole thing. And the reason the contrast is there now is because we're talking about Ibu and his contract situation, because Dave, huge amounts of Liverpool fans are saying, fuck him, I don't care. If he goes, he's been rubbish. Let him off. If he doesn't want to sign for the club, let him off. And it's hard to argue based on the form. Now, you and I both very fond of this player. We know how good he can be, has been. I'd love nothing more than him and Virgil to stay together as a partnership for a couple of years and actually win us a couple more big pots. We're going to need recruitment, though, one way or the other. If he goes, there has to be two high-class people coming in. There has to be. And I don't know where you think this is going, but I doubt January sees any change, either incoming or outgoing, for us in defence. I could be wrong, but unless I'm mistaken, wasn't it Joycey and several others saying it's an absolute no-go for Guehi in January, which means that Konate is staying regardless and will leave on a free, probably, if he's going to leave?
Yeah. It's hard to argue with that, because I know, but he's still here, and I get it. People going, oh no, now's the time they're going to move it forward for Gay, and it's always a possibility, isn't it? But yeah, as you said, Ornstein, Joyce, Romano, all been unequivocally clear. The noises is that they're not going to do it in January after what's happened. They're going to wait for the freebie, and it is clearly there, the interest. As Lewis Steve will even mentioned today. They're looking, and we said on the transfer show they're looking as well, but it's just such a hard market, January, isn't it? And Liverpool, let's be honest, everyone knows what Liverpool needs, so there's going to be a premium on signings anyway for January. It's Liverpool. They've proved they'll spend big at the same time, so no one's going to give it them cheap even for a second. The days of those, bargain Emre Can things, I think, are well dead because of where we sit in the food chain now as well. So it just makes it so difficult to get anything done. And I mean, that's Ibu, Trev. So contract concerns, you expect that to be done. You probably clocked this one as well. I actually think, in a way, Andy Robertson did the club a solid with this, because he's on Scotland duty. He's quite honest, behind scenes talk that's the focus, because Scotland are trying to qualify for the World Cup. But he got the contract question. He said, essentially, no one, I've had no talks, no offers. As it says there on the screen, everyone was bored of talking about Mo, Virgil, Trent, but my relationship with the club is wonderful. They've done everything for me and my family. I've not been too bad for them for 8 million and what I've done. Whatever happens will happen, and I'm relaxed about the situation. If it's my last year, it's my last year. If it's not, then so be it. I mean, I don't know about, I think he's done them a massive solid, because there's no, I'm the vice captain, I've got this record, I can't believe no one's come and talked to me about a new contract. This is a total, I've had a great time, I've got great value, the club's got great value, c'est la vie.
You used the word on the transfer show talking about it when you mentioned it, or whatever today's show was, that you said it was classy. And that's a word that, like, all a modern footballer has to do is show a modicum of kindness to the kid, and it's classy, right? But that was genuinely classy from Andy Robertson, because, like you say, he could have been crying tears as big as October cabbages and having a big old moan about how he doesn't feel respected and loved and all he's done for the club. I think I loved what he said, and it just reaffirmed, I think, for me, what a great fella he is. He's such a great character. He's such a good presence around the club. Then I dread the thoughts of him not being in and around the squad. I really do. I think he's a marvelous influence in there, and his professional attitude is second to none. But yeah, he has probably done the club such a solid, as you say, to not be demanding, to take some of the noise down around the constant hum of angst that's around Liverpool at the moment. He had an opportunity there to contribute to it in a way that was subtle. Even he didn't have to do a big cry. He could have just said, "Well, I'd like to think I'm going to get," but he didn't. He was just really frank about it. I loved what he said. I thought it summed up his career at Liverpool perfectly. We have gotten outrageous value from him, and he has gotten outrageous love from the club and the supporters, in terms of his rewards financially, in terms of how the club have treated him over the years, how the fans have idolized him. And it came across as, I thought, beautifully professional and genuinely classy.
Loved it. And for people who go, well, that's just expected for someone at his level, maybe just rewind a few summers back when a certain captain was told he wasn't going to be a first choice anymore, and how that ended up playing out across the board. Just, let's just bring that into the mix. So don't diminish that statement. It was top notch by Robbo. But I mean, Trev, so we're already expecting probably Ibu's going in the nicest possible way. It's a lovely exit ceremony for Robbo, that all the noises are and the expectations are.
Hey, and don't forget Ali behind him, because there's a big old chance he's going too.
Oh, yeah. See, the question marks are around Ali. That we'll go through the pitch, because there's so many people. But this one is completely under the radar. Now, we talked about this repeatedly in the summer. It kept saying it. Our info was, it's almost like people have just, Men in Black, where they press that thing and they just forget everything. Everyone just seems to be ignoring this situation a little bit. Curtis Jones is within the last 2 years of his deal. The last 2 years. As we told you at the time, they had chat with him and his people in the summer, and it was kind of, they were miles apart. So it was broke off and it was supposed to resume. And since then, Cody's got a big fat deal. There's the renewal talks with Ibu and all that type of thing. But it's just a bit silent. And also, Curtis will be looking and thinking, you've opened talks, as we all know now, with Grav early doors, Szoboszlai early doors. I am the Scouser in the team now as well. It's a little bit quiet, but you'd expect maybe this to get done, but maybe expect too strong. Curtis Jones, and especially with his talent, how important he is now for the team, he won't be settling for a cheapo, will he?
He'd be very wrong to. You probably noted with an arched eyebrow the same as I did, that on the back of a couple of really good recent showings he was interviewed, and he spoke in a very self-confident way about what he can contribute to the team and how he feels he's an important part of the team. And to me, it really felt marked and a pronounced kind of thing where he was saying, don't forget about what I offer this squad. Yeah. Don't forget that I'm a good option for a starting 11. Whether he's speaking to the manager, to the club, to the people who are doing the bargaining for his contract, who knows? Maybe he's just reminding the fans. But I thought it was all very valid. And like I said to you a few 15, 20 minutes ago, he is one of the four who should be on constant rotation in that midfield. And if any of them is dropping, for example, if Mac has gone back, he needs to be out and Curtis in, because the difference between top end Mac and lower end Mac is gargantuan. It's he looks, when he's the version against Man City, like he's been space jammed, and it's so sad because he was our best midfielder, possibly the best midfielder in the whole Premier League last year. So whatever is going on there, that's another thing. As we go through this show, Dave, and we're talking about very specific things, it is clear, isn't it, that there is a sort of a layer upon layer of issues that this manager is having to deal with. And, you know, where they all stem from, or whether they're all just unfortunately occurring at the same time, it is a big ask. And Curtis Jones, just for continuity's sake, surely you make sure that he's not. But you did get the impression, didn't you, that he wasn't getting offered the color of what he thought he should be getting offered, in the same way that Konate was quite offended, apparently, by the early offers to him. So let's see how the low balling goes.
I think that's so important to say, because as we said in the summer, they broke it off because it was miles away. And part of that was because he was looking at the level of your Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllisters, and going, I want. Now, don't forget, two of those we know are in definitive contract renewal. So they're not going to take a lesser wage, are they? Szoboszlai is going to raise the bar. Gravenberch, and even Lewis Steele wrote today in his confidential thing to say that McAllister's initial talk. So if there's a gap already, and there's a potential for probably 2, maybe even 3 to go up, Curtis Jones isn't going to settle anywhere in between. And he knows his value as homegrown at the same time and what that means for Liverpool's squad. So that's just a complication in the mix. And trying not to sound terrible, but I don't think people are maybe always grasping this, Trev. We've said Konate, we said Robbo, probably Curtis Jones, we expect that to get done, but still a question mark of how difficult that is. We've mentioned Szoboszlai and Graven, again, the difficulty that might now, but expectation that gets done. So you say, oh, that's not too bad then. But let's put some names on the table. Everyone expects Joe Gomez to go in the summer because he can't get a game even when Ibu doesn't show up, for God's sake. And, like they nearly went to AC Milan. So that's another one out the mix. Endo, of course, is probably going to go, unless he's going to start playing Mighty Red on the weekends and dressing up as the mascot, essentially. So that's one there as well. As you said, question marks around Alisson longer term. Even, and this is sacrilege almost to say, but there's real question marks around Mo Salah, isn't there? And what he will play in the mix, for his longer term. Chiesa is, of course, going to leave because it doesn't matter what he does. Arne Slot is not going to play him. So, Trev, when you stack that up, because everyone's saying, oh, we've done the churn, we've done the summer, we've got question marks, it's fair to say, of about 7 or 8 right now, haven't we? And that's before bringing in the ones we're safer on, like getting Jones renewed, Grav and Mac. There could be big turnover with contracts and the situations.
Well, you said the word. You said the word, churn. And we, on our show over the summer, we were predicting when the early bit of business got done for Wirtz, holy shit, is it going to be one of those summers where there's a lot of turnover? And we had a feeling in our bones that was going to be the case. And now we have a situation where a lot of senior players, you mentioned them, Salah, McAllister, Alisson, Gomez,
Yeah.
These guys, it looks as if there could be an end coming to their Liverpool time for various different reasons. Now, you say that to people and it's almost like they're in denial. First of all, they say, what are you talking about, Alisson? What are you talking about? Look it up. What are you talking about, McAllister? What are you talking about? Look it up. Papa McAllister's out there talking about Real Madrid from minute one. Yeah. So, and Chiesa is a proud professional. There's only so many times he makes a decision like the one he just made in the summer. So, yeah, churn is, if not inevitable, highly likely. So I hope people are getting their heads around that this project could take another big lurch very, very soon, as in the window after the one's about to come up.
Yeah. And it's like you said, as soon as Ibu goes, we know we need centre halves. And I desperately don't want this to be true, but there is question marks about when you get an injury like Leone's, how that affects you, how you come back. So that comes into the mix. But as you just spelled out there, how many are people certain of when you say Alisson, Ibu, Robbo, Gomez from the back line, McAllister, Salah, Chiesa, if you want to go high? I mean, that's 7. Endo, if you want to drop back to the midfield, that's 8. How many are we confident that those will be at Anfield next season? And remember as well, I think this is important, Trev, what Arne Slot said in his last few press conferences when he's been asked about it. He likes his words, a small squad, doesn't he? He said repeatedly, I want sort of 18, 19 who are almost first teamers, that are going to play, because I don't want players sitting on the bench. It's not healthy, in his words, for that to happen a year or so or more. So there's your Chiesa answer a little bit as well. But even the likes of, sounding harsh, Trey Ione, Rio and Gamoa just don't seem to get a look in or have a chance. And you had the under-21 boss talking about that the other day, saying, it's kind of suffering a bit, Trey Ione, because it's becoming quite clear, no matter how bad that midfield gets at times, you ain't got a chance, kid. It's just the way it works. So for everyone who's going, this has been it, and as you said, almost back to the original question and the statement of, no, this is for 5 years, don't worry, it's not a 5 months thing. Might get a bit more of this come the summer, might we?
We might. And you listed off the list there, Ali, Ibu, Mac, Joe, Robbo, Mo, Fedi. We've just finished talking about Dom Szoboszlai as captain and waiting. What if that doesn't hit the mark? What if he doesn't feel respected by the offer he gets? What if he just fancies going and winning a league title with Real Madrid and there's some truth in that? What if Curtis Jones doesn't get offered money because the club insists on lowballing him still? And he thinks, I could be a first teamer with so many different clubs and make a sideways step to a Villa or a mid-ish to upper mid-table club and be in a kind of constantly playing in the first team situation. Now, Curtis is a Scouser and a fiercely proud one. He'll want to stay at the club. Right. So I really hope they can make that work. I hope they can make it work with Dom as well. We both hope that Ibu's offer is enough for him to say, yeah, I'll stay. And it simplifies things. Maybe we get Guehi in the summer and we're good to go. But there are too many question marks and too many real options available to all of those players to bury your head in the sand and say, well, it's a settled squad now. We just need to add 1 or 2 more pieces. Yeah, but what happens when you subtract 3 or 4 after that? So I hate to say it, buddy, but we could be heading for the churn again.
Yeah, everyone who's thinking this is back to the summer of 1 or 2 with us scratching around on Reece Williams' loan deal to Morecambe, it might just be a little bit like it was last year. Brace yourselves for that one, people. But there we are, eh? 1,000,001 things talked about, in all honesty. Dominic Szoboszlai is world class. Whether you like your eye test, whether you like your stats, however you want to dress it up, every metric you can possibly come up with. Florian Wirtz, Arne Slot's got to solve it because he's got his talents. He's got his adaptation period as well, but we want to see something soon from manager and player. And contract-wise, get that churn ready. Don't just dismiss that and think we're back to the 2 or 3 in the summer. There's big questions coming up. Mate, we don't do this often enough, but it's always good to chat it through. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the takes. I enjoyed coming at it from all angles. Massively appreciated as ever.
Oh man, exactly the same here. And I always feel upbeat after the conversations, even though what we tend to do is pick at the scab until it gets even bigger, and we end up with even more concerns. But at least we try to do it in a way that's slightly, like I say, upbeat and slightly focusing on the positives that can occur as well as the negatives. So yeah, man, as ever, a joy. Talk to you soon.
We tried to be positive for you. We tried to upbeat you. If it is a scab and infection, so be it. But
sorry.
There we go. That, ladies and gents, was another big decisions for Anfield Index.